friends, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Tammy Ernest and I am a long arm quilter, and here on my channel I like to share customer finishes as well as my own personal projects. So this is wedding week for us here. My second oldest daughter is getting married this weekend and it's busy. So it's so fun. We're getting everything piled up and ready to go to the church, and just all those last minute preparations. I'm in the midst of cooking pulled pork for 200 people, so the crock pot is going strong and loving all that. And in the meantime, guess what I did this week? So you see that black bench right there? It's right at the end of this long arm, and last week I was coming around the end of the long arm and I banged my foot on that black bench, and I'm pretty sure I broke my little toe. So I've had it bandaged up. I've had it splinted next to the next toe, but it's kind of bruised the whole top of my foot, and I've only been able to wear flip-flops for the last week, so I'm hoping it clears up by this weekend because flip-flops aren't going to look very good with my dress. So it's getting better by keeping it splinted. It's not in any pain, but I haven't been able to go on my daily walks, and that's really bummed me out. But man, be careful in your sewing room. You just don't know the injuries that you can incur. So we're going to get started today with one of my own personal projects. So this is my Somerville quilt along that I have been doing with my Quilt Circle membership, and this has been our quilt along for the first half of 2024, and mine is just about done. My goal was to get the whole quilt top done this past weekend, but I got everything except the borders on. So this is Camille Roskelly's pattern Somerville. This does come in each of the seasons. Our Quilt Circle decided to do this one. It's been so fun with all the house prints and the big star in the middle and seeing everybody's version of it. So like I said, I just have the border to do, which is I'm doing a pieced border, a little bit different than the pattern called for, but not too much different. But I have all the blocks made. I just really need to piece them together and put them around the edge. So you can see I chose a little darker colorway than even was on the pattern. I am using a variety of prints. I brought, oh, they're right here. I brought some of the yardage just so I could make sure and tell you exactly what some of the prints were from. I did pull these. We were in a quilt store in Upper Illinois. Man, it would have been late December, sometime around there, and picked up these. Is the cutest little quilt store, but picked up some of these fabrics. So I have, this is Kim Deal's Quiet Grace line. That is the background fabric that I'm using. So in all of the 9 patches, all of the sky work behind the houses, and then obviously the background behind the big star. There are 4 stars, 1 in each corner, that are just smaller versions of this large one in the middle. So then for the roofs is a gray print. This is Jill Shawless for Robert Kaufman. I don't know, Yellow Creek Quilt Designs. I don't know if it says Stevenson County. I'm not sure if that is the fabric line of hers, but that was the gray that I used for all of the doors and the windows. So let me pull this in so you can see my house blocks. Oops. So I did same chimneys for every house and the same door, so all in that gray, and that was that one right there. So then the other ones I have red, this deep red. I believe this is a Kim Deal. I don't have that part on the selfage. I do believe this is from the Quiet Grace line of hers. Some of the others, this blue. Again, I may not have the selvage on all of this. This one is Stonebridge. Again, Jill Shawless for Robert Kaufman. That is the blue. So I have a couple different blues, couple different greens, couple different burgundy reds. Then here's some of the greens that I have. These are Tall Grass by Pam Buddha. Was this green grid one. I have a Pam's Prairie by Marcus Fabrics. Is one of the black lines I have. So I really just, when I was at that quilt store, I just kept pulling down ones because I knew that I wanted, so you can tell like in the center star here, this is 2 different blacks. And so then I used those in some of the houses, but I picked out, I want to say 3 or 4 different blacks 3 or 4 different greens. So I have 2 different ones here, and then I had that green grid, and then there's also, oh, there's 4 or 5 of them, because here's another greenhouse there. So I just did a bunch of coordinating fabrics, but they weren't all from one line. So for my cornerstone blocks, my corner blocks that you're going to see when I finish the border, that again is the Stevenson County for Jill Shawless. I love that mustard color. I think that's so pretty. Here is a brown print that is also Jill Shawless. And then I have some more Kim Deal here. This is from one of her lines there. So I just really took some designers that had some similar colorways and picked and chose the ones I wanted. So this is another Kim Deal print. I like that one. Very reproduction feel on that one. Civil War reproductions, what I want to say. And then this is another Kim Deal Farmhouse Christmas. And when you put it with other prints, it doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas. It just has that deep red color. So those are the fabrics I'm using for this one, and can't wait to get this done. It's so fun. So our Quilt Circle membership will be starting our 2nd quilt along here in July, and let me show you what we've chosen for that. I just have a PDF print of that pattern. I do have the pattern itself, but it's up in my sewing room, so I just grabbed this one. This is Joy Filled by Coriander Quilts. Not the greatest printout, sorry about that. So we will be starting this one in July, and so excited about those blocks. And let me show you the fabrics that I've chosen. Let me take them out of the package. So I chose, this is called American Gatherings, and this is by Lisa Bonjean. So I am doing a patriotic quilt for my 2nd quilt along with Quilt Circle membership. I'm so excited. I love the deep reds and blues in this one. I have ordered some white background that has a little bit of a print on it, and that should be arriving today, I believe, and that's what I'll be using for all of the background in the pattern. But then I'm using red and blue for all of the blocks, and so excited about that. So we'll be getting started on that one. If you're interested in the Quilt Circle membership, you can join the wait list. I only open it a couple times a year, and we just had an opening, or we just opened it up the end of April. Is that when it was? The end of April, so we probably won't do it again until October. But if you want to join that wait list, then you'll get all the information when it becomes available when we're opening up again. We do things like Quilts of Valor initiative. We do a monthly challenge. We have a monthly show and tell, a live show and tell. That's a Zoom meeting that we do where we all show the projects that we've been working on. We have a quilting workshop that comes out once a month, and that's where I interview somebody in the quilting industry. And then that is presented to the Quilt Circle membership this month, or coming up in July. I will be interviewing Michelle Rudy of Farm Girl Dry Goods. I'm so excited about this interview, and that's what the Quilt Circle membership will be seeing next month in July for our workshop. So if that's something you're interested in, it's a fun group where basically isolated quilters, people that may not be able to join an in-person guild, they're able to find inspiration and community and motivation by sharing their projects and seeing what others are working on. So you might be interested in that. But I'm so excited, one, to finish this one up, and secondly, to start on the next one. So fun. All right, let's start on some customer quilts this week. My first quilt today, this is Elisabeth's quilt, and this is one of the barn stars that Corey Yoder designed. So this is barn star number 6. She does have a whole line of these. Each one can be purchased as a separate pattern. This does measure 40 by 40, so this is going to make a great wall hanging. You could do these seasonally so that you could have a different one you know, a different barn star each month if you wanted to. I'm not sure exactly how many there are, but you could change your fabrics up and create one for each month of the year and have them hanging in your bedroom or in your dining room or above your mantle. They would be so pretty. So Elisabeth chose Barn Star 6, like I said, and she chose the Sunnyside line by Camille Roskelley. So all the blues that Camille Roskelley has done recently. I just love these. This is so pretty. She's done a really nice job with the star in the center and then the blocks around the outside edge, making even a larger star there. And all of her classic blues. I love the blue floral in the middle. Then that's repeated in the border along the edge. And her background fabric is again one of the larger floral. I mean, I would say a medium floral because it's got a lot of white space in here. Love this, especially because the front is a little heavier on the darker prints, and so then going lighter on the back is really, really pretty. But obviously because it's part of the same line, it just matches perfectly. It's just so pretty. For the Pantograph, we chose No Fuss Orange Peel. This is put out by Julie Hurt. Actually, you're actually either making just a hump and a hump and a hump and a hump, and then it comes back and does the bowl and the bowl and the bowl and the bowl. So instead of doing an entire circle and then repeating in that way, it's really interesting because you're just doing, you know, the bowl all the way across. Well, it would start by doing the hump and the hump and the hump and the hump. And then when you get to the end, it comes back and it does underneath it. And then by the rows being offset, then it does that again. So she's done a really nice job. So No Fuss Orange Peel. It does have a pretty precise lineup because you want your points to be pretty close to the line above it. So as long as you've got, you know, as you're working in your throat space, those lines are going to measure up. But it's when you rotate your quilt that you really need to make sure, whether you're putting batting in behind your bar in the back just to kind of move the quilt where you want it a little bit. The sides, because the sides will shrink in as you quilt, so just making sure that those line up as precisely as you can. We did use a white thread on this one. You've got white background fabric here on the front. The backing fabric is also a white background to it, so white was the perfect choice for this one, and this is so, so pretty. Just love the way this one turned out. All right, let's move on to the next one. Each week I think that these quilts are just incredible and it can't get any better. And then I work on quilts the next week and think, oh my goodness, the quilts are just getting more incredible all the time. So I have two quilts by Sharon this week, and both of them are the cutest things. You are going to want to get these patterns and these fabrics. You see the teacups and the teapots. Oh, this is so cute. So this is called Tea Party. This is a pattern put out by Beverly McCullough of Flamingo Toes. And this uses her line called Afternoon Tea, so all the daintiness of an English tea party. The cups that are stacked on top of each other is just so cute. All of the fabrics are floral and teacup fabrics as well, so they go perfectly together. The white is just a solid white, so maybe a Kona solid or a Bella white or something. I don't have information on that per se, but the rest of the line is all Beverly McCullough's Afternoon Tea. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves of teapots and teacups, and you can see even the shelving has this dainty little lace. I kind of picture it as lace coming off the edge of the shelf. That's what's creating your shelf in the pattern, but that's what it looks like. It just looks like it's on the edge of the shelf underneath those teapots and teacups. Just adorable. There is a small border around the outside edge. Love this blue border, and then a white one around the edge, the outside edge. The backing fabric is also part of this line of the Afternoon Tea line. I like that. It's a little more of a pixelated print, this one, not so much the others. There is some of this print in some of the teacups and and saucers and things like that. But this has just a little more of a pixelated look to it when you get in close, but a nice tea rose, I would say. For the pantograph, Sharon chose Chantilly lace, and I think this is a perfect pantograph. Just adds all the delicacies, the delicateness to the quilt top that goes right along with the theme of this quilt. So Chantilly lace has a little loop, and then, or a little spiral, just a very little, almost like scroll work on an iron fence. Just a little bit of a loop or a little bit of a spiral, then it comes up and does 3 loops, a little bit of a spiral, and then it repeats that pattern in the reverse, going down. And so then the rows nest very well together because your 3 loops that are coming up then nest very well with the loops that were in the row above it. We did use white thread on this one. Again, all of the white background fabric, and even the backing is set on a white background, so just adds lots of texture. We want this one, all of the teacups and the teapots to really shine on this one, and the quilting to be the texture in the background. So really, really pretty. This one does measure, let me look up real quick. This one measures 63 by 83, so a nice size quilt, really. All right, and so you're going to want to see Sharon's next quilt, especially if you're a Lori Holt fan. Are you in love? I'm in love. I love this one. So this pattern is called Millie's Dresses. This is put out by Lori Holt. This uses all of her fabric line called Mercantile. And this is just a throwback to the day dresses and all of the fabrics. It's just adorable, just adorable. So there are 4 dresses in a row, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So 16 dresses, every one of them's different. They have a little collar with a little belt around the waist. It is just adorable, just adorable. Around the edge there is a yellow border. Again, I like the skinny border there. And then a pieced border around the edges of that, love that, and then a white around the edge. So this is all Mercantile fabric. You can buy this as a kit from the Fat Quarter Shop using the Mercantile fabric. You can buy the pattern there as well, or you can buy the fabrics themselves, you know, if you're wanting to use them in a different project. I mean, Lori has all kinds of projects you can use each of her fabric lines with, but to see those dresses, they're just so cute, and the fabrics themselves are just adorable also. So the backing fabric, this is also from the Mercantile line. Again, more of a pixelated flower here, and this is 108-inch backing. It is a pink. The background is a pink, and then the flower on top, and then the sashing set on point, which is really cute, especially for 108-inch backing. It's really nice. I like that. It gives a whole different interest to the quilt by setting it on point there. The thread I did use a little bit of a cream color thread. Lori's fabrics are set on a cloud backing. It does appear white. I mean, it looks white until you hold it up next to something else, and then it just has a little bit of a cloud color. And so I did use the cream color. I think it went really well. Sometimes I'll use white with Lori's fabrics. This time when I laid it out, I really liked the cream, and it's not, you know, it's not overly yellow or anything. It's just a shade darker than the white thread, and I liked it with this one. So again, audition your threads, lay them out, even do them in your basting stitches around your quilt, just to kind of get an idea of what you like. I did like the cream color on the back of this one. This pink is a little more muted, so a white thread was going to be very bright on the backing. And so between the two, I kind of wanted this to just blend in a little bit more, and then it just really adds the texture onto the front. This is so cute. I didn't mention the pantograph. This pantograph is called 60s Mod Butterfly, And this is also put out by Julie Hurt. Now this one does stitch out in horizontal rows. So when I loaded it on the long arm, I did have to load the quilt so that the top and the bottom of the quilts were to my left and to my right. And then this does stitch out in straight lines, because between each one of these butterflies there's a straight line. So that's how it travels to the next one. So a straight line, and then it does the butterfly, and then a straight line. So you'll have to orient your quilt that way, unless you wanted it to stitch out the other way. You wanted the butterflies the other direction. But for this quilt, it is a directional quilt, and then we wanted the butterflies running vertical. So those are Sharon's two quilts. I just love them both. They're so, so fun. All right, let's move on to Ellen's quilts. All right, Ellen's quilt is so pretty. This measures 51 by 51, and this is the Secret Agent Modern Mystery Quilt. Have you heard of this? So I looked this up, and it is so interesting. So Bill and Weeks have the Modern Quilt Studio, and they do these mystery quilt-alongs that they just look really enticing. So this one was called the Secret Agent Modern Mystery. This one is now finished, but you can buy the pattern. But their current mystery quilt is Lighthouse Inn. It just started June 1st, and I will link down below. There is an introductory video that you can watch that explains how this works and all the information there. And then once you buy the pattern, you get a whole PDF that explains where all the clues are. So it's a quilt along, but it's set, this current one is set at Lighthouse Inn, and it says you're the concierge of the Lighthouse Inn, and you'll be, I don't know, it sounds very intriguing, a lot of fun. But this one was called Secret Agent. I'd love to talk to Ellen more about how this went along, but I just think this quilt is absolutely beautiful. Again, it's one of those that the design of the quilt really pops out when you lay it out, and especially when I'm taking pictures. When you get a little farther away from it, you really see the designs pop out, and how the color plays. You know, do you see that? How the color plays and creates the different blocks and the intricacies of the pattern. It's just so pretty. So Bill and Weeks also created the fabric line. This is called Transparency, and all of the fabric lines. So very tight, very, they read as solids, you know, from your point of view. When you get in closer, very tight designs, very small, but very pretty. A lot of them are geometric, squares, some flowers here. This is almost like a very tight hexagon type things. It's very, very tight. Some more oval type shapes, and just very tight, very bright colors. I like that as well, and just really like this. The backing fabric is also part of that transparency line, and there you can kind of see the very geometric feel to the hexagon kind of look there. Very straight lines. This is in a gray, but some of that same print is also in the blacks. There's some in the red. Just very pretty. So pantograph for this one, we chose the squared pantograph, and the squared pantograph, we use this on that modern, on Moda's modern block one as well a couple weeks ago. And I like this for geometric quilts because, again, the quilt is set on vertical, horizontal lines. You do have some circle shapes in here, but it's very horizontal, vertical. I did that backwards. Vertical, horizontal lines. So I like the squared pantograph in that it keeps the sharp edges of the pattern design, but it sets it on point. So it's keeping with the feel with it, but changing it up just a little bit. And I think that adds a nice dimension to it. Not competing with the lines in the quilt, but instead setting it on point where you're getting those diagonal lines running through. But we had talked about doing the diagonal plaid on this one, though, but the bias cut diagonal plaid is available as straight ones as well, but the one I have is the bias cut, so it has rounded corners. And I felt like this one really needed the sharp edges of the corners and not the rounded ones, just to complement the straight lines of the quilt. So bright colors. So because of the bright colors, I used a gray thread. I actually went with the medium gray thread on this one. It blended it a little better. A light gray still can read kind of light even on colors like this. It can almost read as more of a white color. So I went with the medium gray so that it really blended in, really soaked into those colors, and you're seeing all of the design of this quilt pattern. And then by using the gray on the back as well, really it's just adding texture, because this is such a busy print on the back that it's just adding some extra texture to there. Very, very pretty. Again, this one measures, what did I say, 51 by 51. Measures 51 by 51. This will be a nice wall hanging. And if you're interested in these mystery quilt-alongs, you'll have to, they truly are a mystery. Not just that you don't know what the pattern is, there really is a whole intrigue and mystery. There's a whole Facebook group, and they say there's people in 6 continents doing these things. So you'll want to check it out, and I've put all those links down below in the description box, so you'll want to check that out. All right, I have a really cute one by Ellen as well. Ellen's second quilt is an adaptation of the Puffin Star quilt put out by Art East Quilting Company. So if you look at their pattern, they have the same puffins, the large ones and the small ones, but they have more of a star shape with it, and Ellen didn't want that. She just wanted the puffins. She has used Tula Pink fabric, so the Fairy Flakes line is the tealy color background fabric here, and also the black and also the white. So the white looks solid, but when you get in close, it has that same fairy print to it, and you can see the variations in the white. And then for most of for the beaks and for their feet, she has used True Colors, which is also by Tula Pink. Just so pretty. This is really cute. This is a baby quilt, and it measures 45 by 45. Really fun. So she has done a minky on the back, a purple minky. This is a great complement to the front, because you can see in this fairy print, you've got some, it's the tealy background, but you've got some purples and yellows, and I like the pulling out of the purples by using the purple minky on the back. And then that shows off the quilting so well. This quilt pattern is called Rock and Roll Petite. So we were kind of looking at something rocky, because puffins, when they're out of the water, they're usually on the rocks, but also water related in some way. So while this has the name Rock and Roll, you know, it kind of has a water feel, but it has the larger circles, and then again with the smaller, so kind of could be a bubble print, kind of could be rocks. And they're just connected by a wave type print there. So it does stitch out in rows, it does nest up together, just creating lots of texture on there. So for the thread color, I did use a cream color to blend in with the fabrics on the front. And then again, like I've mentioned before, minky just soaks up your thread on the back, so you really don't even see the cream color on the back. It soaks into that, and you don't see the threads at all on the back. So pretty. So the minky, this is the Shannon Cuddle minky. I really like this. It's just super soft, easy to work with. It will shred some until you'll see little bits of purple flying around here until it gets bound, and then you won't have that anymore. It's not, the shredding is not coming from this part of the fabric, it's coming from the edges of the fabric. So once it's bound, you're not going to have any of that anymore. It's just as you're cutting it, if you're quilting it, that kind of thing, you're going to have some of that shedding until that is done. So that's Ellen's quilt. So this is Susan's wall hanging. She said this is called Stars and Stripes, and this was in the 2021 Liberty box. Now the Liberty box is a yearly box. It's a specialty box put out by the Fat Quarter Shop once a year. So it is out right now, the 2024 one. There might be a few left. I know it's already shipped to those that have ordered it, and I have mine. So this is the first year that I have gotten the Liberty box. And if you received my newsletter this past weekend, I did put all the information about this in my newsletter. I've linked that newsletter below. If you want to see what one of my newsletters is like, you can go and read through that, and then if it's something you enjoy, you can click the button at the very bottom and subscribe to my newsletter. It does come out once a week over the weekend, and it recaps all of the quilts that I do, that I show you in my video each week, and then has information about family life, things that are going on around here at the farmhouse. So I'll real quick share with you what's in this year's Liberty box if you're interested, if there are any more available, because the things that are in this box are not available for purchase separately. It is an exclusive box. Part of the proceeds from this box do go to the Quilts of Valor Foundation, if you're familiar with that. So it's a great thing to invest in and to be a part of. It's fun, it's festive. You know, you can make a new project for July 4th. So in this year's box, 2024 Liberty box, there is, let me show you the fabric line first of all. This is by Leela Boutique, and this is called Old Glory Fabric Collection. So obviously you're going to be, it's patriotic, so we're going to have reds and blues. So she's got the reds, love this ticking red, and then she has some muted blues. I want to say soft pale blues there. And then there's also a panel, and the panel is what you use for the pattern that is included in the box. So this says Sweet Land of Liberty. Let me show you this pattern real quick. So you can buy the fabrics. I won't pull the whole thing out. So you can buy her fabric line. That is not just exclusive to the box, but the pattern that is included, let me find it, is called Sweet Land of Liberty. And so it uses the Fat Quarter bundle that's in here and the panel. They did provide the 3-inch half square triangles. So obviously you can buy these on your own as well if you want to use these. They include plenty of this. This makes 300 in here. And you're only going to make, oh, let me look real quick. I mean, you're only going to make, let me see real fast. You're making 32. Yeah, you're making 32, so you're not even going to use a 1/10 of this roll, and then you're going to have this for your other projects as well. This quilt pattern was written to explain the the pattern was written with instructions for triangles on a roll. Not all patterns are. A lot of times you'll have to do the conversion. If you need to have half square triangles for a certain size, then you'll need to know which size to buy. But this pattern is written for using the triangles on a roll. So I did buy the finishing kit for the quilt as well. And just a couple other things in here. There was a kitchen towel. I have that hanging in my kitchen already. And then it does have this little hanger. Can you see that? There, you can kind of, let me put over here. So it's a little star hanger, and then you could hang a quilt block from this, you could hang the kitchen towel from this, and it's just so pretty for 4th of July, you know, or whatever season. You could have this hanging on your door. Really cute. And then the final thing in the box, they do include, sorry about that, they do include this little card that shows you a little pattern that you can make, a little block that you can make to put on, to hang from that little hanger. And then this one is exclusive to the Fat Quarter Shop also. This is a ruler holder. So you undo the little handle right here. It's got a suction. So when you undo it, it releases the suction on the bottom, and then you would put this on your ruler and you would snap that back closed, and then it suctions that up, and then your ruler, you would able to move your ruler if you needed to, but more importantly to hold it down so that you can trim up. So I'm going to try this when I work on this and see how well I like that. But so if you're interested in a Liberty box, you may jump over to Fat Quarter Shop and see if there's any left of this one. I know the finishing kits aren't available anymore, but you can find other backing fabrics for the quilt. So you may be able to still get a box. Otherwise, just keep your eye out for next year, because you'll want to join in on this box and support Quilts of Valor at the same time. So Susan's quilt came from the 2021 Liberty box, and so it is called Stars and Stripes, and that was a pattern by It's So Emma. The fabric line is called Land of Liberty, and this is by My Mind's Eye. Really cute. So you have some wording on the red and on the white prints. You've got some pinwheel patterns on the reds, some stars, a little bit of floral. I like how the corners create the hearts. Do you see the little hearts on the corners? So this measures 27 by 27, and it's a nice little wall hanging. I think Susan said she's going to turn this into a pillow, so that'll be really nice. So making it into a pillow, she just did a white on the backing, on the background, because she will add however she does her pillows, whether it's an envelope or a zipper on the back or something, but she'll add those extras onto there to create the pillow. So pretty. So this pantograph, this one is a new one. This one's called Rolling Hills Sparkle. So it is like a Baptist fan, but with the star in the middle. Can you see that? And I saw this one in Quilt Circle membership. One of the other long armors in the group had shown a patriotic project that she had worked on, and she had done this pantograph. So I went and found it, and when I was auditioning pantographs for Susan, this is one that I sent her, and I love this. I really like this one. It's really fun. Did use a white thread. Obviously we got white background fabric. All this is going to be in a pillow, so this part is not going to show, but if she changes her mind and does it into a wall hanging or something, the white is just adding texture onto the back. So cute. Really, really cute. Enjoying summertime and the patriotic feel and decorations and all of that. So fun. It'll be here before we know it. Yeah. All right, I have Susan's second quilt. Susan's second quilt is called Frosted Cookie, and this is also by the Fat Quarter Shop. It's their publishing side called It's So Emma, and this pattern is in this book, Perfect 5 Quilts. So the Perfect 5 means that you're using charm packs. Now, Fat Quarter Shop did have a Creative Grids ruler designed that is the Perfect 5 ruler, and inside this book it does talk about why that ruler is good. So it talks about the Creative Grids Perfect 5 ruler. They have taken off all of the markings, the ruler lines on the markings, except for the essential ones that you would need for half square triangle or for charm packs. So it has 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch markings, so that you can quickly find the measurements. It does have a diagonal line so that you can trim up half square triangles if you're making those with charm packs. And also Creative Grids ruler, it has the grippies on the back that help you hold down your rulers. And I am liking that part. When I trim up quilts on the floor, I have the huge 20.5 inch Creative Grids ruler, and when I'm putting them down, those are some long cuts that I'm making, and that ruler, just with a little bit of pressure in just the right spots, it's got all those sticky dots on just the right spots on the back of the ruler that I have not had it slip at all. So you can obviously do the quilts in this book without this ruler, but if you have some trouble trimming up and you want to create your own charm packs, it's not that you have to buy charm packs. You can use this Perfect 5 ruler to trim up fabrics that you have in your stash, then that you can make your own charm squares. Now Susan said she did not have it. This quilt called for 4 charm packs, and instead she used the 5 by 21 strips of fabric that she had left from a previous quilt. So now Fat Quarter Shop also sells what they call Jolly Bars that are 5 by 10 inches. So she had some strips that were 5 by 21, and then she subcut those to make the the 5-inch squares that she needed to make this quilt. So you can see the block right here. Maybe I'll do it on the green one, it's a little darker. So you can see the block, it's a 5-inch square. You're adding easy corner triangles onto the 2 top pieces, and then by rotating that, kind of like you do with a pinwheel block, you're creating this, what they call a frosted cookie. So isn't that just so cute? The backing fabric is all white, the background fabric is all a solid white. And I forgot to mention, the fabrics that she used are fruit cocktail from Fig Tree quilts. So she had these left over from another quilt that she had done, and that's what she has used for this quilt. So this measures 75 by 75, so she did a really good job. So like I said, that pattern is in this Perfect 5 book. There are lots of other patterns. This is really fun. This one is on page 52 if you already have this book, and it does say it uses 4 charm packs, but like we said, you could use you know, other yardage as well and just subcut into that. And then 4 1/3 yards background sashing and for the borders. Then for the backing fabric, she did some more of those cookie blocks. She did those across the back and then used a large floral for the rest of it. So this section goes across horizontally across the quilt, and there are 4 or 5 of those cookies across there. And then a large part, I probably have this upside down because this is the smaller end, and then that's the larger end. So I like that she offset it some, not perfectly right in the middle, but offset it some. I think that gives good interest to a quilt, obviously. For the pantograph, again, used white thread, and this one is called Cartwheels, and this is also by Julie Hurt. So Julie has an Etsy site, and I'll link all that down below. So this one is, you have 2 different flowers. I mean, basically the same flower, but this one and then this one is turned on point. So you have one straight and then turned on point. Let me bring it in a little closer. And it stitches out in those rows. So one straight, one on point, and it stitches out in those straight lines. And then again, I like to bring mine in close enough together that you really can't noticeably tell where the lines are. I want it to be one consistent design across the quilt top. So I did use white thread. The background fabric is all white. So you'll notice on the blue that white is kind of bright, but with the other bright flowers, it's a nice addition to it. So really like that one. And I don't think, I can't remember, it's been several days since I did this quilt. If I shrunk this down at all, I might have, because this is only probably 2.5 inches tall. There's a lot of negative space with all of the white background fabrics, and so I really wanted to create a lot of texture on this. I like this pantograph because it almost has the same feel. This has the 4 parts to the cookie, you want to say, and this flower has 4 parts to that. I just think it was a good combination between the two. So I really like that one. So cute. All right, I have 2 quilts by Connie today, and Connie is so sweet. She inherited these 2 quilts that were only partially done. Part of the blocks were done and part were not. From a friend, from a friend's daughter. The friend went into an assisted living, was no longer doing any quilting, and so Connie was gracious enough to finish these, and they're just so pretty. So this first one is called Set L Medallion Quilt. This is by Marti Mitchell. So Set L meaning it's using some of her templates, her perfect patchwork templates, to create the quilt blocks. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 3 in each row, so 12 blocks total. The fabric line is called Portobello Market. This is by 3 Sisters for Moda. So some of these fabrics may be quite old. They may be a little harder to find. You can still get the pattern and the templates from Marti Mitchell, but you may not be able to find the same fabrics. You might be, you know, Etsy has lots of stuff. So you might be able to find it there. So a little bit more of the rusty color and the browns and the like slate blue and the taupey kind of colors, the floral prints, and each block is different and really cute. They're really fairly large blocks. I would say this is probably a 16-inch block right there. So Connie finished all the blocks. Some of the blocks were done, but not all. She finished them, and then this one actually has a big medallion. The pattern actually has a big medallion block in the center, and Connie said she decided she didn't need a quilt that big, so she just put the blocks into a grid type pattern and made the quilt that way. But you'll notice if you go to the link that you'll see this one with the big medallion big medallion in the center, and then these blocks are all around the edge. So the backing fabric is matches the borders of this one. Very pretty, very pretty. For the Pantograph, Connie chose Baptist Fan. So this is called Easy Baptist Fan, and I love this one. I like the traditionalness of Baptist Fan. It's fun to stitch out. I love to see the texture it creates on this one. I did use a cream color thread. The fabrics are a little more muted. There is some white background fabric right here, but the whole tone of the quilt is a little more muted. So the cream color blends in nicely, not being too bright on the darker prints and not being too dark on the white prints is what I want to say. So I like this. I think it just, a Baptist Fan really just adds the traditional part to an older quilt like this, and it's so neat to see these things finished and just honoring those who've gone before us and may not be able to finish their projects, and to finish them up and honor them in that way. I really like that. So I do have a second one by Connie also. Connie's second one also was given to her, and so when she received it, she said her friend had about 12 of the log cabin blocks done. Now in total there are 24 log cabins, and then there are 12 pieced blocks. So her friend already had done about half of the log cabin blocks and had done some of the pieced blocks as well. So again, this is Marti Mitchell. This is her pattern called Jamestown, and the fabric line is called Ramblin Rose, no G on the end, Ramblin Rose, and that's also by Marti Mitchell. So again, this was a block of the month. I want to say, yeah, this was a block of the month quilt that her friend had started probably back in 2008, and then Connie received it last year and finished it up for her. So we had a quilt last week that was log cabin, and do you remember how I was saying when you do log cabin, it's a very versatile block in that you can create so many designs just by turning the block in different directions. So last week Brenda had made more of a star pattern by the way she turned her log cabin blocks, and this is the same way, but last week she did the black and the pink. Is that what I want? Yeah, black and the pink. So a dark and a light. These you have a black, and then you have 2 rows of red, and then green, and then all your lighter colors there. But do you see when this one is set in this direction, you get these long diagonal lines, but that's all created from these the log cabin blocks that are set that direction. So all of the dark colors are on this part, all of the dark colors are set to the right, but then in this row, all the lighter colors are set to the right, and that's how we get these long diagonal lines. And then in between those rows of the log cabins are the piece blocks, again running on a diagonal, so we get those long lines. Just very, very pretty. Then there are a couple borders on here. You can see there's a small red border, and then a light one, and then a large dark floral border. All that Ramblin Rose line there. For the backing fabric, Connie went with a little deeper red. This one has some tone on tone, so the red flowers, the red florals on the back, nice, very pretty. So for the pantograph, she chose Wishbone, and I like the texture that Wishbone creates on this. This is a very large quilt. Let me see. This one is 90 by 112, so very, very large. And love the backing fabric that she chose. And then the Wishbone, it comes up, it's like a wishbone. It comes up, creates a loop, and then goes down, creates a loop, and you're just doing that back and forth. I do, anytime I'm doing Wishbone or two scoops or square dance that we're going to see here in a little bit, I do shrink those rows all the way so they are really nested in together like that. So I want this Wishbone to come up almost, I mean, it really is right in between the one from the row above it. Now when you pull it into your Pro Stitcher or whatever program you have, it's going to be very separate like this, and you can decrease the rows as far as you want. I mean, you may just want them barely touching, where you just have the bottom loop of one and the top loop of another one, but I really like to intertwine them all the way down, so it creates lots of texture. I did this fairly big, even for a Wishbone. I've done it much tighter on other things, but I did it fairly big just because this is such a big quilt, big blocks. Didn't want to just make it so tight that it was too dense. But by decreasing those rows, there's really good coverage on here, so you do have a lot of space in the loop part itself, but there's lots of coverage here, so I like that. I like that on this quilt. So this one is a cream color thread, so it does show up on the red a little bit, but the cream color blends really well, especially here with these the little darker creamy colors. And then you notice it some on the red. So again, when you're laying this out on a bed, you're going to see the whole pattern. That's what you're going to see first, and you're not going to see the quilting until you get in close to it, and that's the way it's meant to be. The quilting is just an extra, unless you're doing like a whole cloth quilt or something where the quilting is the quilt. But on a pattern like this, when people walk into a room, they're going to see your colors, they're going to see your pattern and your quilting first, and then it's not till you get in close that you see the quilting, and it's just that that second design that you get to see, and so fun. So we make a good team. All right, I have another one to show you today. Is this not adorable? This is Chelsea's quilt, and she has taken one block from Lori Holt's Farm Girl Vintage 2 book. This is the milk cow block that you see down here at the very bottom, and Chelsea has taken that one block out of this book and recreated it 12 times. Yeah, 12 different times to create this very, very cute quilt. Now, I want you to notice, sometimes the cows have udders. I don't know if you can see that one very well. Let me pull in one from the bottom so you can see it a little bit better. So we have this gray cow right down here at the bottom, and this one has the udder, and then some of them she's made without that. So she has both boys and girls on here. She has done embroidery stitch to create their little tails and also their eyes and their little nostrils there. She's done such a cute job on this one. All fabrics from her stash. She's done I just love how she's done different faces, different muzzles on them, different udders and their ears. Each one is just so cute. Some dark black ones you can see. I like this one. It looks like they're wearing pajamas. I think that's what it looks like to me. And then each print underneath for the grass is a different print as well. She's just done a really, really cute job. So Lori's book, this Farm Girl Vintage 2 book, is so versatile because you could do the cover quilt using one of each block, but you could take one block and then use it to create a quilt like this for your for whatever your style is. So everything on here, from tractors to bees, they're everything farm girl. So you could have kitchen things like an apron or a mixer. You could have crafty things like yarn. There's even a mixing bowl and a spatula. There's little houses. There's fruit, and there's corn and tomatoes and carrots. There's a little cat. There's a little rooster. I mean, you could do so many fun things with this book. So the patterns themselves, I mean, this is a big book too, 200 pages in here. And you know Lori, she has so many other tidbits in here and so many other pictures. I just love to look at her pictures. Have you heard she's coming out with a new book in November? And she's doing a photo shoot real soon at her new house. How exciting. I'm so excited. You know, so excited to see her new place, new sewing place. So the blocks in here, you can do 6-inch blocks or you can do 12-inch blocks. All of the measurements and things are for every block is that way. So very fun. She does have her gingham quilts that are in here. Also some barn star quilts, like I showed earlier, that Corey Yoder had done. Some patterns, and then Lori Holt has done patterns on those as well. So there's so much more than just this cover quilt. You've got other things. There's a pin pillow. That's really cute. A little tomato cushion pin pillow. Like here, you can see those little pin pillows that she's made. So fun. And these are all pieced blocks, none of the applique. Just so fun. A really fun book. So many ideas. She has other quilt settings in here. Other ideas for quilts in here, so a great book to pick up if you don't have that one yet, and be watching for her new book coming out in the fall. So this is Chelsea's, and so for the pantograph on this one, we did square dance. Now square dance is very similar to the wishbone that you just saw, but it's squared off. So instead of the loops, we're actually creating a square. It does nest up inside each other. And when talking with Chelsea about some designs, for this one we had looked at maybe a cow theme, maybe some footprint type things. And in talking with Chelsea, I said I really felt like this one, the theme of your quilt is carried in the pictures, in the blocks here. And I didn't think doing a footprint or a cow theme on top of that was going to add anything to the quilt. I really felt like adding the texture of this square dance pantograph, just adding a lot of texture to it, letting the cows carry that part. And then, because in some ways this kind of looks like, you know, a chain link fence or a fencing around, you know, fence panels around the cow yard or something like that. But just adds a lot of texture to the quilt and letting the prints and letting the blocks carry the theme of it. So I did use a white thread on this one. We do have a white background fabric and then a white backing as well. So white was the perfect choice for this one. So by doing the 12 blocks, this one measures 57 by 75. So a good size quilt. So very, very cute. All right, here's the next one. Is this not striking? I love this. A 2-color quilt. So this is Lisa's quilt. She has done it in 2 colors. There's the Kona OD green, is the green you see here, and then the lighter print is a Bella Fig Tree Cream is the number of that one, is the name of that one. So a Bella Solid, both solid colors. 2-color quilt. I absolutely love this. This is so pretty. This measures 82 by 82, and I believe Lisa said she was making this for a family member, and I just love this. So this block right here is called the Hunter's Star, and there is a free PDF on the Fat Quarter Shop website. You can download this for free. Don't have to put in any information. You just go to the website and download it. This tells you how to make this block. This is a kind of complicated block. It does. And then there is a pattern that you can buy that then gives you the fabric requirements and how to set it then to create either a table runner or different size quilts. And this one, like I said, measures 82 by 82, so the pattern can take you all the way up to a large size quilt. Very pretty as a 2-color quilt. I really like this one. For the backing fabric, she chose that same Kona solid. This is the OD green. Very, very pretty. And then you can see the pantograph here. So then this one is kind of a takeoff of that orange peel design, but this is called beaded orange peel. And so you do have the orange peel design right here, but then you have this little bit of a bead that does in between each row also. It actually stitches out with the row of orange peel. It's done 1 row at a time. So it stitches out the orange peel, it does the bead at the same time, and that's how you do each row. And again, it does get it as close as you can to the row above it so that it looks like one continuous design. We did use a cream color thread, so that does almost gives you a whole cloth quilt on the back by just seeing the quilting on the back. But then on the front, it really blends with the cream color thread or cream color of that solid color there. So really like this one. Then obviously she's added the green border all around the edge. That's very nice. It gives it a nice frame around the edge of the quilt. So very, very pretty. I think she did a fabulous job on this quilt. Very striking. And I think the pantograph here just adds to the richness and the design of this quilt. By doing, and obviously the quilt is very square. I mean, you've got triangles, but you've got very straight angles to it. And we just softened it up a little bit, made it, just added some classiness that really enhanced the quilt, because the quilt's already classy, but just kind of an adding, didn't want to do anything whimsical or anything like that. That wasn't the feel of this quilt. It's very a classy quilt. And so I think this orange peel design, but with just a little tweak difference by adding that little bead in there, just was a nice choice. I really like this for this quilt. All right, that's all the quilts that I have for you today. I hope you are making lots of time to quilt yourself if it's hot where you are and you're able to enjoy quilting where you can do indoors when it's 0 degrees outside, or you can enjoy it indoors when it's 100 degrees outside, right? It's a great hobby to have. So if you are in need of long-arm quilting services, my information is down below. And I hope you will join me back here next week, because every quilt is worth finishing. We'll see you then.